Hey, Gary McDougall here. I wanted to talk today about compost. Composting is really important a part of our way of life. We take waste streams, we take our green waste, we take boxes of vegetables that we get from a barn market down the road that are spent, that are done, they're headed for the garbage, but we reroute them into our compost bin. We take that compost, we take horse manure, we take leaves, free leaves, we pick up bags and bags of leaves, we turn it into compost. And we do that because we want to create a product that's, one, it doesn't cost us anything. Two, it feeds the soil, it feeds the living soil, the microbes, the worms, and the worms and microbes turn that compost into amazing nutrient-rich, soil that grows plants that are super healthy and makes us healthy. So that's why we do it. This is something my wife and I do, and I want to introduce you to our system. The first step of our system is we put all of our waste in here in the chicken bin. In the chicken run, I should say. We put, these boxes and boxes of greens that the chickens work on. It gets a little bit stinky, it gets a little bit messy. When it gets too messy, we just rake up the leaves that we gotta put in the run, and the leaves actually soak up their manure. It smells better in here, and then we just rake some of it up, we put it on top of the waste, and then it smells good. And then we just put more leaves in. And when this bin gets full, we just transfer it over to another bin, and I'll take you over there. So I put it in a bucket, I take it from there, and I put it in this bin. I lift up the screen, and I put it in this bin, and I fill this bin. And the idea is, oh, watch out for your step there. The idea is I mix it. I mix this bin with an equal mixture of like browns, like leaves, leaf materials, with our green waste from our house and from those boxes, and also other green waste like horse manure. If it gets too hot, I know I put too much green stuff in it. If it doesn't heat up enough, I know I need to get more green stuff in, like boxes of greens or the horse manure. So I get that in this pile and I let it heat up. And heat's a super important thing. I made heat a goal because when I get it above 130, but I keep it below 160, when I keep it at that temperature, it kills all the weed seeds and it kills any pathogens or any bad bacterial things in the soil or in the plants that we put in here. So we heat it up, and we let it sit for about a week. After a week, I've turned it. And the idea, when I started this process a couple of months ago, I gotta say my goal was to make hot compost and make it and finish it quick and get it out in the yard. But as I've learned more, and I've watched different scientists, and I've watched different soil microbiologists, and they've tested soil and they tested compost, and what they found is, after you do the hot process, it's best to let it sit. So after I move it once a week. I move it 3 times, and on the 4th week I put it in here. And the goal was to let it sit here for about a month and put it out. That's what I did with our first bin, and I've already put like one full yard or so of compost on our garden to feed the soil. But this bin I'm going to let sit for a year, I think, with the idea that there's still microbes in there. There's still fungal spores in there that are going to break down some of the thicker stuff, some of this wood. They're going to break that down into an even more nutrient dense and nutrient available for plants in the soil to use. So I'm gonna let this sit for about a year. So when I initially started this series 3 months ago, I was like, I'm gonna heat the compost up super fast. I am gonna have hot compost and put it on our garden a month later. But I don't think that's the healthy way. I think it's better to take your time, get it hot for sure, to kill the weed seeds, to kill all those bugs and stuff, but slow down the process. So that's the idea. We're gonna let it sit. We're going to let the microbes and the science kind of do its work, become a scientist in this process, and then when it's finished, then feed the soil with that. So that's the idea. And the idea is the more compost, the more leaves that we get down, the more worms take that compost, the more the bugs take these wastes and they turn it into amazing soil. They turn it into usable nutrients for our garden. They make healthy plants. We were spending a lot of money on organic food and stuff, and we realized that the organic food was coming from really far away. It was coming from California, it was coming from places like South America and stuff, and we didn't like the idea that it was using so many, it was using so much petroleum and stuff to get to our place. And we just thought, Petra and I thought, we wanted to do something together that was good for our family and good for the environment, good for the planet, and composting is a major part of that system. So now we get all kinds of food. Oh, our neighbor's cat is running by. We get all kinds of food.
Oh, sure.
We get, garlic and potatoes and peas and beans and geez, raspberries, we have all kinds of fruit trees. We get all this like plant abundance, and a really, really important part of that is this compost. So I wanted to share that with you guys. I wanted to inspire people to make a lot of compost and get it down in the soil. And the other big thing that I'm starting to learn about compost and about getting plants, getting wood chips, getting leaves down in the soil is when you cover the soil with those things, worms come up and eat it. They also help the plants then, this gets kind of complex, but this is so important to me, is like plants draw CO2 out of the atmosphere and they convert that to carbon in the soil. And when carbon's in the soil, carbon then captures all kinds of water and holds water in the soil. So doing this process is so good for the soil, it's so good for the environment, and I actually think it actually cools the environment, is what scientists are saying now. The more carbon we get in soil, the more water we hold in soil, the more plants transpire and cool the environment. So we can actually cool this planet by doing this in our yard. So I want to end it on that note. Thank you so much. If you have any questions about compost, any questions about gardening, let me know. I'm going to make a series this year about our gardening process with the hope to inspire people to compost, but also to garden, grow their own, and make this world, make this planet a healthier place. Thank you so much.